What is going on, everybody? Do we have a black screen or what kind of screen do we have here? But it says it's live, so I guess we're here live. It was originally going to be me in 7th level, but I guess 7th level had other obligations. He was testing out his stream, so he ended up doing his own stream, so more power to him. We'll link up another time. And the reason I had trouble making the stream earlier was apparently I had some custom setting ticked, so it was asking me for some kind of encoder. We're trying to do this and trying to do that, and really nothing was kind of working. But then when I went back into it, I'm like, wait a second, why is it on custom? And I hit default, wham bam, thank you, man, and there you go. We're right here, and we're right here live. So anybody has any questions to talk about, anybody has anything to answer, anything they want to ask about gaming, life, sports, please talk about sports. It's been a while since I've talked sports to anybody. The summer, anything else you want to talk about, feel free. It's a hangout, the podcast of hate, first one. So let's get things going. Who don't like white women? Already 5 dislikes. Lolsy is streaming right now. Yeah. I guess Sunday seems to be the best time to stream, really, because, you know, everybody comes in, everybody's winding down. I don't know many people that work on the Sunday, at least like a corporate job or anything. Mostly people working Sundays are like younger kids, I guess. I'm not really sure. Will I roast Dr. Trey in Street Fighter 2? If he wants to play, I mean, like I said, if these people want to play, I will play them, but apparently a lot of them don't want to play. And if they don't want to play, that's not really anything I can do anything about. I mean, I want to play. I'm a gamer. I would like to play, but again, people don't like to play. Blocked by channel blacklist, change settings. So apparently somebody is blocked. How am I enjoying The Witcher 3? The Witcher 3 is the best game of this year so far. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It is a phenomenal game. I've been playing the living hell out of it. I've been doing every mission, every Witcher hunt, every treasure quest, every secondary mission. I'm probably about 80 to 90 hours in. Did Black Baron? No, Black Baron never owned up to the bet. That's how he is. He never owned up to Hard 8's bet. But back to The Witcher, it's a phenomenal game. It's everything I expected. I expected the graphical downgrade to be worse than what it was, but it really isn't too bad from what I've been seeing. It's one of the best looking games out right now. The new Dragon Quest game, that should be 11. I'm excited for that. Streets of Rage, my favorite one. Man, I like them all. I like 1 with the car. I like 2 for being the most well-balanced. I like 3 for having the OK meter at the top and all sorts of things. Oh, now 7th wants to get in. Give me a second, guys. So now I gotta pick my lazy ass up, come to the desk and not be in the recliner, put my headphones on, and let's see. Invite. Forgive me for my mechanical keyboard. And 7th is invited. I was trying to get your attention around earlier, but I don't know. Bond should just keep 7th out like he did to you. Wow, you're running a HD 6950. That was the original card I had going in, and then I got rid of it because I couldn't stand AMD drivers. I flashed it to a 6970. Not SLI, I crossfired it, and then it was giving me gigantic stutters of like 5 and 10 frames per every. Oh, God. I just couldn't do it anymore. I had to get rid of it. Bond, invite Rev and Shokio, and they're probably doing their own thing. Chargers versus my Eagles. Who would win? It really depends because the Chargers are a team. They like to play up and down to their competition. They're not really ever consistent in anything they do. And I just sent 7th an invite. don't think he's coming, or I don't know what's going on right here. This is my first go at this thing, so bear with me here, people. Okay, I guess he needs a link. Oh, no, that's not the link he wants. Only giving me a video link. I don't want the video link. I want to give Seventh the actual link to the damn stream. This is 1/7 right there. I gotcha. So, do I play golf? I play Mario Golf? Nah, but on the real golf, my dad's a huge golf fan. He tries to get me into golf all the time. I can't stand golf. Golf to me is very annoying.
There, goddamn.
Yeah, you want to know what the technical problem was for that whole thing? You really want to know?
You're a dumbass?
Apparently, some custom thing was checked off by default, and all it really needed to do was be checked to default instead of custom.
Lovely.
Yeah, well, you know what they say. 99% of PC problems are, in fact, user error. It's the truth.
Meanwhile, I'm on the hangout now, but I still don't see the the chat window where I can see what people are posting.
I can see it. I don't know if you can see it though. I think only the host can see it, maybe.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open up this in a separate window and mute it so I can see what people are posting. And I'll make that'll make it easier for me there, because they're going to be. I didn't let you in because by the time you finally got your shit working,
you were in stride, man. I seen you.
I had a shit ton of questions to answer. So.
Yeah, you were in stride. I was enjoying it. No problem.
All right, man. Give me a second. That way. What was everybody talking about before I got in?
Nothing. Just answering some quick questions, people. They're asking about, like, Baron, how come he didn't own up to the bet? What's my favorite Streets of Rage, which is my question. What is yours?
Okay. Let's see here. 7th, do you like black bitches?
Okay, so you... It doesn't matter what color they are as long as they're good looking. That's always been my opinion.
Well, I'm married, but back in the day, there was a couple of times where I partook of some darker berries.
Which is way back in the day, by the way.
Oh yeah, like early 20s. Almost 20 years ago. Long time.
So some questions I do got to ask you because I'm genuinely curious. I've never talked to you fully on Skype, just off the hook, off the chain, or anything like that. We're just shooting the shit here tonight, guys. But I wanted to notice, where did you start gaming? Because you have some crap that I started at the regular Nintendo. Anything before the regular Nintendo, that's just not something I could speak on.
My earliest gaming memory is from about 3.5, and my cousins were always I was son of a police officer. We never had money. And so up until about the age of 8 or so, when my dad finally got promoted to lieutenant, he was making better money. My gaming systems were always hand-me-downs from my cousins. And I can remember at the age of 3.5, they got they got like a Fairchild Channel F, and they gave me their hand-me-down Radio Shack Pong clone.
I do not know what the hell a Fairchild Shack, Shaquille O'Neal, or whatever the hell you just said is.
Fairchild Channel F. The Fairchild Channel F was the first console that had swappable cartridges.
Yeah, see, people, you learn something new every day.
You're talking like 1976.
10 years before I was, yeah, that's well, yeah. So how many systems did you own even before the Nintendo came out?
By the time NES came out, I had already gone through, through hand-me-downs. I'd gone through that Radio Shack Pawn clone, a Fairchild Channel F, an Atari 2600, Magnavox Odyssey 2, Intellivision, ColecoVision, and Atari 5200.
Huh. Oh, next question. Is the stream just a black screen?
Well, it is for me because I'm not hosting video. I'm just doing audio. So what I'm seeing is a picture of you with some white chick that's obviously made some poor life choices.
Oh, nah, she's doing good right now.
I'm talking about her choice. I'm talking about her choice of men.
Oh, no, she's dating one of my good friends. She's doing real well now.
I'm talking about associating with you.
Oh, you're associating with me.
Just because I'm talking to you. Just because I'm remember that was your definition. Just because I talk to you online doesn't make you my friend. You remember that?
Yeah,
you remember you saying that, Bond? I remember you saying that.
You're not just talking to me. You're in the podcast of hate now. Wherever we decide to call this later on.
Oh, okay, all right. I guess that makes you my bestest non-white friend then. Okay, I got you.
I'll take that as a compliment. You calling me non-white?
I don't know. Beforehand, you were taking it as a compliment if I did call you white. Make up your mind, Paul.
I take everything compliments.
Make up your mind.
That's a lot of gaming before me because my first memory of gaming. Oh my god, I remember this like yesterday. My brother was kind of a problem child, and he really wanted the NES so bad. And you know what an au pair is, right?
Yeah.
We had like some like Russian young chick who was like our au pair, and our neighbor up the street, which was my older brother's best friend, got an NES, and my brother wanted it so bad. So that Christmas, he asked for it. He was probably in first grade. What's first grade? 6 years old, right?
Yeah, 6.
Yeah, because I was like 3 when we got it. So he found it because you know how little kids search for Christmas presents and everything, right?
Right.
So he found it in the closet, and my au pair called my mom. My mom used to work at Dow Jones, and she said that my brother found it. So my mom came home and told them that, oh, that wasn't for you. That was for the boy up the street, that she was just holding it so he couldn't have it. And my brother, like, flipped out. But, yeah, we finally got the NES. First games were Mario, Duck Hunt. We pretty much got every damn baseball game there was, from Bases Loaded, RBI Baseball, Bad News Baseball, Roger Clemens Baseball. Dude, me and my brother were baseball nuts. We would keep stats for middle school, elementary school, Little League. We would keep stats for like, because, you know, back in the day, you didn't really have games that saved seasons and things, you know what I mean? So we would create like our own seasons and things like that. Tecmo Bowl, like,
actually, they did have games that would store seasons.
Yeah, like,
on NES, Baseball Stars.
Baseball Stars, right? And Tecmo Bowl. I'm talking about like in the very beginning, like.
Oh, okay. Like NES Baseball.
Yeah.
Oh, that game was a piece of shit.
Yeah, it was. But yeah, the NES was like that. That was my shit. And then we got like the 4-player adapters with like Super Spike V-Ball and World Cup Soccer. And I would cheat my ass off and duck hunt and like stand next to the TV and just shoot the gun. Then we got Super Nintendo. Then we got Genesis. Then we got the Sega CD. After that, I was pretty much on my own. I started delivering papers at age 10, umpiring at like age 12. So I bought an N64. Then I bought a N64 day one. Then I bought a PlayStation afterwards. Skipped the Saturn. I didn't get a Saturn until recently, as you all know, because Dr. Trey likes to point that out, even though I even admitted that. Bought a GameCube day one. Brother bought PlayStation 2. I bought the Xbox. Got 360 later, Wii day one, PS3, and that was the end of my consoles. Now I'm PC only.
It's funny to see Hard 8 posting a video about white privilege, and here you are like, oh, let me tell you a funny story about what happened with my au pair.
Well, what can I say? I grew up wealthy.
Pardon me while I go get me a mint julep.
I kind of grew up wealthy.
You are a fucking Oreo. That's what you have to just give up your black card now.
See, that's the funny
You
thing,
just
though.
admitted to having a live-in fucking nanny. Okay, that's it. You're done.
Done.
You're
But
done. You are a honky. Just accept it.
everybody likes to call me half white, but neither of my parents are white. That's what's funny. So I don't know where that comes from, but yeah, it is what it is.
It is what it is. All right.
Bond, would I join Rocket? Oh, I completely forgot. I got the Dreamcast too. The Dreamcast was a phenomenal system. How the hell did I skip over that?
Dreamcast was good, yes.
I mean, let's be serious here. The 2 years.
What am I saying? Dreamcast is good. It's sitting on my shelf right now.
The Dreamcast 2 year, the 2 years that the Dreamcast had in prime time were exponentially better than the Wii U's 2 years. It's ridiculous. The Dreamcast has come and gone and did more in 2 years. Hell, it did more in 1 year than the Wii U has done in 2.
Oh damn yeah! The library on the Dreamcast, a fantastic library. It's fantastic, especially if you can play the imported games, because there was a lot of really great games that never made it over from the States. There was a really good kind of strategy-based RPG that was called 100 Swords. It was really good. There was a lot of fantastic shoot 'em ups that never made it over to the States that were just amazing games. And if you have the ability to play some of those imports and you've got a Dreamcast, and go for it. Because you're going to find a lot more stuff to play on it than you will your Wii U.
Now you can just emulate the Dreamcast, so I don't really have to
true. That's
away.
True.
That's the problem I have when I want to go out and just find a game. Like, do I really want to buy it, or I could just emulate it?
Oh, not me. I got to have it on the shelf, or I won't have it at all.
Yeah, I'm not really a shelf guy. It depends, because let's be serious. You're more established in life. I'm up on the rise. I can't justify at this stage of my life just going out and buying things for a collect. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I can't really justify it. I barely spend money buying games now as it is. To be honest, I've been trying to cut down on my. I play a lot of games, but I'm trying to been going back to my backlog to beat all these Steam games. I just don't feel like spending a lot of money on games. And I know that sounds hypocritical because I just bought a $700 video card.
Well, people keep asking me what my Steam account is. It's not really my Steam account. It's more 8's Steam account, but it's called 7th and 8th.
Yeah.
So if you guys want to hit up 8th on Steam and play some games with 8th, that's where you find him. 7th and 8th. Sometimes it's me, sometimes it's him. Luck of the draw. Take what you can get. 7th and 8th.
Yeah, you really want these social rejects playing with your kid?
Not really, because I know they're going to send him a bunch of perverse shit, but
So yeah, guys posting my name in the chat already because they're so cool.
But that's okay because he he knows how to deal with people that he doesn't want to talk to. So that's fine.
They act like
a child after my own heart. Yes,
pretty much. Well, things will just happen to them like the last guy. They don't understand that when you create a Gmail account, it is pretty much your internet fingerprint. We can find you. Anybody can find you.
It's getting that way.
It's already that way. That's why they wanted us to change over.
Yeah.
And people really still think they're safe.
Well, you know as well as I do, if somebody's bugging you online and you want to find them bad enough, you can find them. Oh, it's not that hard.
Yeah, we've already found plenty, believe me.
Oh yeah.
Hence that guy had to make that apology video because he didn't want to enjoy that prison time.
No. It's like people don't understand that post 9/11, even just threatening somebody in a comment, that's actionable in court. You can be prosecuted for that shit. That constitutes an online threat. It's considered cyber terrorism. If they can trace you to your username, they can press charges. Hello.
And so let me just explain to these morons what happened with that guy in the apology video, because somebody was asking. Dude started posting my address on Twitter. Well, why am I saying my address? My mother's address. So I get a phone call on my way back from my friend's house, and my mom is like, Ryan, somebody called you. I'm like, called me? Like, they were asking for Black Bond. And my mom watches my channel. And I'm like thinking to myself, well, nobody I know in the real would call asking for Black Bond. You know what I mean? They would ask for my name or is Ryan here? So I go on to Twitter and this dude is posting my address there for my mom's house. And I'm thinking to myself, oh, that's what happened. So I call my mom up and I'm like, yeah, some clown, you know, he must have called you or whatever. And she's like, from the internet? Yeah, I'm like, yeah. She goes, I'm crazy. My mom goes, those crazy white boys. She's not like Hulk Hogan, don't worry.
Okay.
So she really didn't mind it at first, but then she was like, well, you know, my brother has a kid. He has a niece. That's my niece, her grandbaby. And she was like, you know, I really don't feel like a bunch of crazy people bothering me when I'm watching a kid. You know what I mean? She's not worried about herself. She's worried about the baby. God forbid one of these crazy morons comes running through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So she was like, you tell that clown, yes, my mom uses the word clown, that he better make an apology video. Otherwise, he's going to face repercussions because my uncle, which is her brother, is a major. That's pretty damn high up on the food chain when it comes to police.
Yep.
So for any idiots that's out there trolling or talking mess or posting anybody's information, not only can I find you, I have found you. And these idiots I have found are no longer on the internet anymore. And let's say I found you again and found that you were the same person, then yeah, you'd be facing a lot of shit. But hey, that's on you. You people want to put your livelihood in risk, and you people want to put your inability to get a job in the future at risk and things like that. That's on you. It's not on me.
And all over what another man on the internet says about a piece of plastic. That's the part that's the funniest about it.
By the time I'm done with you, you will not be able to gain any kind of significant gainful employment. You'll be blacklisted.
You guys that watch me and the guys that watch Bond, you realize that the things that we say don't have any impact on you in the real. If I tell you, if I make a video, don't buy this shit, that's not going to prevent you from going and buying that game. You know that, right? It's just opinion. It's just expressing an idea about something that's only really relevant to me. It's not going to do any real harm to you. So why get all bent out of shape and ass hurt about it to the point where you're willing to try to open somebody up to harassment and threats and stalking and everything else by posting their home address and their phone number and shit like that. And you know, I have been known to reveal things about individuals when they have done when they've done things that deserved it, and but I've never posted anybody's like address in a video or anything like that. I've had people ask me to find somebody on Skype before, and I'm like, okay, here they are. Why? What are they doing? And then give them the guy's information. But as far as like doxing somebody, the closest I ever came to an actual doxing of somebody was when I found that stuff. Tokes' dating preferences.
He likes them thick.
Yes, he likes them thick. And you know, I posted that when he was waging war on everybody and threatening murder and all this shit, and that's why he got so mad at me and posted that infamous video that everyone just loves to keep alive in the community. The whole I'm gonna stomp a hole in your chest for 20 days, and here's my cousin and all.
Slice you from your head to your nose all the way down to your toes.
I said, I'm going to slice you from your nose down to your toes and then back up to your motherfucking asshole.
So this guy's asking a question.
You can barely see him over the bottom of the screen.
This guy's asking a question.
All right.
What's the whole backstory on Dr. Trey? Now, me and you have probably been here since the beginning. I can't even remember when Dr. Trey came to YouTube. Do you remember when he first came in?
No, somebody linked me after he'd already been on for a while. I don't remember exactly when he hit the community, to be honest with you.
Because if you ask anybody, everybody will tell you they never knew who he was until I started clowning him.
I think you were the first one that told me anything about him.
I don't know. Like I said, I mean, people can say what they want about Dr. Trey and me. Bottom line is, I'm not lying to you. I'm not telling you anything wrong. I'm not telling you anything misinformed. The Wii was lackluster. The Wii U was lackluster. And really, that's all there is to it. He thinks it isn't when it really is. And there you go. We're not getting definitive versions of games. We're not having a developer's system. And we're already pretty much getting a new system. And what do you have for the Wii U 7? Like, is it a robust library?
Not really. I mean, if you go to somewhere like VGCollect.com and look at how many games are listed for the Wii U, it takes up like maybe 7 pages, something like that. I can't remember. But it's not a very big library, and most of it is kind of a smaller version of what was available on the Wii. A handful of good first-party exclusives, a couple of decent third-party exclusives, and then a bunch of inferior third-party games and third-party kiddie crap. And that's the Wii U.
Because honestly, I can't. It's almost August, and I can only name one game that's come out for the Wii U in 8 months, and that is Splatoon. That's pretty damn bad.
I have not bought Splatoon yet. I have 17 games for the Wii U, and all of them are exclusives. None of them are multiplats.
Yeah, at least you're supporting the system better than these clowns do. That's all I got to say.
It seems to be that way because I see them talking about games that when they're coming out, but I don't see them buying them. Like I remember when everyone was talking big shit about Wonderful 101. I went out and bought it day one. And when I started playing it, I didn't see anybody from the YouTube community that was online playing that shit. And
that game didn't sell too hot either.
No, it didn't sell. It didn't sell worth a damn. And I'm like, where you guys that are trying to, get Bayonetta 2 over 1 million sales in the U.S., where were you when Wonderful 101 came out? It was a platinum game. Why'd you ignore it?
I bet you they won't be out there when Spellbound or Dragonbound or whatever comes out for Xbox One.
Oh, Scalebound? No,
yeah.
they're not going to support that.
Damn,
and then you
somebody just brought up Zamato Elite. Remember that dude? Best in the marketplace?
Vaguely.
Vaguely.
Vaguely. There was a rumor that was going around about a week or two ago that someone had posted a rumor that the Nintendo NX wasn't even going to be as powerful as the PS4. Of course, this early in the development cycle, I don't know how anyone would know that, but it just goes to show you what the mentality of Nintendo is out there now, and that's that it's a system that's underpowered compared to everything else that's out, that will have no third-party support, and the exclusives are the only reason to own one.
How is that even possible? Like, think about it. That the new system that comes out 5 years later is going to be weaker than something that came out 4 years ago. That'd be like me buying a new video card, and the new video card is weaker than a video card that came out 4 years ago. That doesn't even make any sense. And not just in gaming, in any realm of technology. Like, would you release a new air conditioner that is worse and less efficient than a 4-year-old air conditioner? Or a phone? Or a tablet? Or a computer? Or anything? You know what I mean? Technology is supposed to progress forward, and Nintendo, their idea is to take old technology and make it cheap and efficient for people to buy, I feel.
I don't understand it. I don't understand what their mindset is. The official company line is that the GameCube was the last time that they tried to keep up, technologically speaking, with the competitors. And the GameCube was marginally more powerful than the PS2 as far as what it could do graphics wise, but apparently because it didn't sell as well, they took that to mean that their customer base doesn't care about having the newest, hottest graphics. They care about the games. And a lot of that had to do with when the GameCube came out. I mean, it.
A year after the beast known as PS2, when the GameCube came out, the PlayStation 2 had Grand Theft Auto 3, Final Fantasy X, and Metal Gear Solid 2.
Yep.
So it was dead on arrival.
Mm-hmm. So I mean, it wasn't the fact that their audience doesn't care about keeping up technologically. It was that their audience got tired of waiting and had gone to greener pastures, so to speak.
Pretty much, the PlayStation 2 was just
if
a
anything,
dominant system.
If anything, the GameCube was simply a victim of bad timing. They didn't get it out fast enough. If they had launched it, you know, and plus they'd already their credibility somewhat, or not, maybe not their credibility, but their reputation had been soiled somewhat from the N64. I mean, the N64 has some great games on it, but that's when Nintendo really kind of put that first nail in their coffin as far as third-party support, was with the N64, because everyone else wanted to move on to disc-based media, and they're still putting out cards. And that's also why the N64 games were so fucking expensive compared to games that were on disc.
And the even more ridiculous thing is, even on the GameCube, Nintendo said, we are not actively seeking any kind of third-party relationships. If they want to make games, they can come to us. This is coming off the N64 generation where everybody abandoned you. And instead of you reaching out your hand to get them back, you say, oh, we don't need you. But if you want to come make games for us, yeah, you can.
Yeah, this is not a smart move on their part, and they've been paying for it ever since.
Yep.
Because now the third parties treat them as an afterthought, and they just throw them the leftover scraps from their table, and that's all they get. Oh, here, have a port of a game we released on the PS3 a year ago. Enjoy that. I'm sure your consumer base will just love playing this year-old game. And that's pretty much what they've gotten, and it's deserved, because that's the way they treated their third parties. And I can understand not wanting to be beholden to third parties, but the sad reality is that whereas a console is defined by the games that you can only play on that system, a console success depends on the third-party games.
Exactly. They don't understand that. They think it's all about exclusives. The PlayStation 1 should have showed them that with all the third parties moving away from the N64, that multi-class and third parties are the lifeblood of a console. Once the third party support dries up, it's a wrap.
Right, and when I've said that before, people have said, "Well, that's not true. Look at the NES. The NES had some great first-party games, but it was its third-party that most people remember more than anything else. Sure, they remember Super Mario Brothers and they remember Zelda, but when you talk to people, what were your favorite Nintendo games? They're going to say Nintendo. They're going to say Mario. They're going to say Zelda, but then they're going to start saying Castlevania, Contra, Gradius, Mega Man, Crystalis. They're going to name all these different Blaster Master, all these different games that were third-party games.
Bubble.
And some people don't even realize that those weren't first-party Nintendo titles, because they just thought of them, and when they were kids, as Nintendo games.
Yeah, that's it. When I was little, I didn't even call them video games. I just called them Nintendo games. It wasn't until the Genesis came out that I was like, oh crap, there's more than Nintendo out here.
I see somebody saying that Infinite Retro left YouTube. Did that happen in the last 2 days? Because he posted a video like 2 days ago.
Yeah, him and RXL are going back and forth. That's what they do.
Right. He posted a video about RXL just a couple of days ago. So unless he quit YouTube in the last 2 days, as far as I know, he's still there.
So what are you playing right now?
What am I playing right now? Well, I'm playing, let's see, on Vita, I'm playing Hyperdimension Neptunia U Action, which is basically a clone of Dynasty Warriors in the Hyperdimension Neptunia universe. And, of course, I've been playing the PS4 Godzilla game, getting ready for the review for that.
Why is everybody so obsessed with that game?
because they consider it an example of horrible PlayStation 4 exclusives. The Xbox and Nintendo fanboys have latched onto that as evidence of the fact that the PS4 doesn't have any good games to play.
Speaking of Xbox and exclusives, it is 8 months into the year, almost August. I can't name one Xbox One exclusive that's come out this year.
I think I read an article earlier that it's been like something like 8 or 9 months since they put an exclusive game out that wasn't a downloadable title.
And if you go over to Big Lambert's Small Cocks, they'll act like they get a new exclusive every month.
Here's the reality. I have 9 Xbox One retail games sitting on my shelf. I have 52 PS4 games sitting on my shelf. That pretty much says it all.
That is way too many games, my friend.
Well, I buy most of them during the Christmas time, and we're communal over here. If one person buys a game, it's everybody's game. It's their game, but it's everybody's game too. So if my wife goes out and she buys a game, that's her game, but it's also everybody's game. If I go out and buy a game, it's my game, but it's also Eight's game, and the same thing with Eight. And so,
you mean how, like, when my brother had a PlayStation 2 growing up, and I played his PlayStation 2, but people say, "Oh, you have a PlayStation 2."
Pretty much.
A bunch of morons.
But like Eighth yesterday, he had some of his leftover vacation money, and he went out and he got him a copy of Elder Scrolls Online. So he's been playing that on and off all day. And he has a strange obsession with that new Rocket Cars game off of PlayStation Network for the PS4.
Even Oppressor was playing that game.
Yeah, I haven't played it myself. I've just sat and watched him play it because I played the original one and I didn't like it.
There was an original one? This is the second one?
Yeah, it was a Super Rocket Battle Cars or something for the PSN. It was on PS3. And so this is kind of a sequel to that game. And of sorts. And I've seen a lot of people playing it, and I've watched Eighth play it, and he seems to have a lot of fun with it, and in more or less the same way of playing like a soccer game online with other people or whatnot. And it can get pretty crazy watching it, but I'm not too big up on the sports type titles, and that's essentially what it is. It's soccer with remote control cars.
You've played RC Pro-Am, don't lie.
Well, that's a racing game. That's
with remote control cars.
This isn't really a racing game. It's a sports game. It's soccer, and they've replaced the players with little remote control cars. That's what it is. It's soccer.
Sounds like a neat concept. Is it ever coming anything other than PS4 or what?
I don't know. I think it's on PC, but basically or it's coming to PC if it's not there already. You're on a soccer field with soccer goals, and you are trying to use your car to knock the ball into the goal, and then the other players are trying to stop you, and that's basically what it is. It seems like a fun game, but again, I'm not super big into sports. I mean, the last time that I was big into a sports game that wasn't a pro wrestling game was Lakers versus Celtics for Sega Genesis.
So that game was the NBA Live.
That game was the shit. I played the hell out of that game. I still have my card on the shelf.
Then they had Bulls versus Blazers.
Yeah,
and then it pretty much transitioned to NBA Live, right?
Yeah, I just didn't like Bulls versus Blazers as much because one of the things that I liked so much about Lakers versus Celtics was the music in that game, and they kind of toned that aspect of it down when they brought Bulls versus Blazers out because bit by bit they were trying to make it more like an actual NBA experience at that point. So, NBA games don't really have a soundtrack. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah, well, they do now, thanks to Jay-Z.
Well, yeah, but you know what I'm saying. And Lakers versus Celtics was the first one where you could play as the Bulls and pull off all of Jordan's moves and everything. And so that's the only team that I played with. And I was pretty, as far as like when my friends would come over, I was pretty dominant with that team. Playing with the Bulls and Lakers versus Celtics was kind of like playing with Scorpion in Mortal Kombat. You can spam real easy with the Bulls.
Was Jordan in that game? Because I know Jordan's not in a lot of games.
Yeah, he was in Lakers versus Celtics, and it was not unusual for me to beat my friends with a score of 140 something to 50. Because once you got going, it was so easy to steal in that game too. So 9 times out of 10, if I didn't get the ball off the jump, I could just spam steal, catch the ball, pass it to Jordan, dunk. Pass it to Jordan, 3-pointer. Yeah, it was simple.
Yeah,
It was almost it's kind of like cheating in Joe Montana Sports Talk Football. For any of you out there that remember that game, there was an exploit in that game that you could use. Eventually, once your real life opponent was clued into what you were doing, they could stop you. But the AI never figured this out. There was an exploit in the game where you would pick a fake punt on the first down, and you'd hear the announcer say, "On the first down," and I can't believe it. And then what would happen is you'd hike the ball, and there'd be this massive hole in the defensive line because they were all lining up for a punt. And so you'd run right through this gaping hole and run 100 yards for a touchdown. And it worked every time. The AI would fall for it every time.
How about the reveal of the new Montana game where people thought that 2K football was going to come back for Xbox One and PC, and it turned out to be a phone game?
Yeah, that was a major letdown.
Oh my god!
I know El Presidor was pissed about that one because he's a huge fan of ESPN 2005.
Yeah, I have a lot of friends that are like that. They're real big fans.
That's like his favorite football game. It's like he hasn't really liked any of them since. As far as like the last time I talked to him, that was the last football game that he really loved. And I'm sure when he found out that was just going to be a phone game, that probably pissed him off, if he even knew about it to begin with. Because lately, all he's been doing is driving around and reviewing cookies and shit.
Cookies. My sports games back in the day, well, obviously, I played Tecmo Bowl, the Niners, Jerry Rice, Roger, Craig, Thurman Rathman, John Taylor, Jerry Rice, Brent Jones, Dwight Clark, Ronnie Lott. I played a lot of Roger Clemens baseball. I got my own exploit for you, Bases Loaded 2. If you took the one team, I forgot what they were called, if you took their cleanup, Skinner, and you put him in as your leadoff, if he touched the ball, it'd be an automatic home run every time. And then Genesis had awesome sport games. I really liked Triple Play.
Oh yeah, Genesis was the sports game machine. It beat the piss out of the SNES when it came to sports games. It wasn't even close. But one of the funny things about that, I remember, I think it was Madden 92. I don't think it was the original Madden. It was like Madden 92 or 93. Was they had this visual gag where if you had a player that got injured on the field, the ambulance would come driving out to save him, and he would run over all the other players trying to get to the one injured one. So by the time he picked up the injured player and drove off with him, you had all these other injured players that were lying all over the field where the ambulance had run them all the fuck over.
That's
and
hilarious.
It always cracked me up, and I always wondered if they had done that intentionally as a visual gag to kind of break up the monotony of the game, or if it was just some kind of weird glitch that they hadn't planned on. Because it never failed to crack me up. I'd laugh my ass off every time that happened. And it happened every time. Every time somebody got hurt, here comes the ambulance, and it's, bodies flying everywhere. That's fucking hilarious.
How the hell does that get past like play testing?
Well, that's why I'm saying I wonder if that was intentional. It was just like some gag that they'd put in there to just kind of break things up a bit.
I guess so. I mean, they had the ambulance and the stretcher in Tecmo Bowl where they'd come pick you up. It's pretty funny.
Yeah.
Until like your player was out for the year, and you're like, oh crap. What's your game of the year so far this year?
Game of the year. I don't think I've really picked one yet. There hasn't really been anything where I was just so absorbed with it that, for me, a game of the year is the game that I get into so much that even when I'm sitting at work, I'm thinking about what I want to do in it when I get back to it. and I haven't really had that game yet. You know, I get like I haven't even really gotten into Batman yet. I have it, but I haven't gotten into it. My kid has already beat the game, and I sat and watched him play through the whole thing. And I think,
Batmobile Arkham Knight.
yeah, I think if that would probably be a good candidate for it, if not for the fact that they had hosed the PC version and put so much of the Batmobile in the game. Somebody asked me about that in my other stream that I left to join this one, and I'm in agreement that it's good to innovate a game, but it's not good to look at something that you've put in and say, wow, that's really great and innovative, and get so up your own ass that you make the whole game about that one innovation. And that's basically what Arkham Knight is that they are fucking obsessed with that Batmobile.
Damn, some guys talking about Ken Griffey Jr.'s Slugfest on N64. I hated that game because you could catch any home run at the wall, just scale the wall and float through it, catch it, and bring it back.
Yep.
That's too much Batmobile, though.
Well, it is too much Batmobile, and especially what's funny to me is that they had the Bat Wing in the game, you just couldn't control it. Why not have some flying missions in there? How about the Bat Boat? Let's put the Bat Boat in there.
Did the Lego games have you control like the Bat plane and everything?
Yeah, in the Lego Batman, you can drive the boat, you can drive the Bat Wing, you can drive the Batmobile. They have all of them in it. And that's why I was telling people, sure, it looks like a kid's game, but there's a lot of aspects of the Lego Batman games that I've liked better than some aspects of the Arkham series. The Arkham series is great, but there's just some things that are missing from it because of the direction that they went. And oddly enough, the things that are missing are things that the Lego games have in them, which kind of blows my mind, to be honest.
Well, you know what my game of the year is so far?
What's that?
Definitely The Witcher 3. I've probably put 100 hours into it. I've been doing every Witcher hunt, every buried treasure quest, every secondary mission. I'm going through that whole entire game.
I have Witcher 3, but what happened there was the game came out right when I was about to head off to vacation. So I got like a few days to play it, and then I went on vacation. And when I came back from vacation, we'd had some guys that had quit, and we had some major system revisions that had caused a bunch of problems. And so I ended up working overtime for several weeks after I got back from vacation. And it didn't help that one of my coworkers went on their vacation as soon as I got back from mine, so I was also having to cover some of his shifts. So I ended up not having a whole lot of play time for the past several weeks. The only time I was playing was when I was playing on my Vita, to be honest with you. So
did you back up the config files?
Witcher 3 is one. I didn't have to back up the Oh, you're talking about the update.
What a bunch of idiots at my job.
Yeah, I know. But Witcher 3 is one that I haven't gotten. I haven't been able to fully crack into, so to speak. So my verdict is still out on that one. I'm still making up my mind on it.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, this is boring. This is too slow paced. I'm bored." Like, if you get bored and you're annoyed by the pace of the game, you need to stop doing secondary missions. You need to stop doing Witcher hunts. You need to stop doing buried treasure quests. Just play all the main storyline missions and be done the game. Everything
Pretty
else
much
is for people that want to do extra or want to absorb themselves into the world. Like Rev was complaining about how he had to do a quest where he had to find a pot for a woman. Like, dude, somebody like you just wants to rip right through the game. You don't need to be doing all that extra crap. Just go through the main story, be happy, and be done with the game in 40, 50 hours.
Executioner says Alien Soldier. That was another kick-ass Genesis game. Yes, it was. It was also a treasure game. The makers of Dynamite Headdy and Gunstar Heroes and Ronald McDonald's Treasureland Adventure, oddly enough.
Didn't they make Alien Storm too? What was that one?
Well, he's not talking about Alien Storm. He's talking about Alien Soldier. That one's not as commonly known because it was never released in the States. That was a European only release, Europe and Japan, I think. it never made it officially over to the States. You'd have to import it and hope that you had a Genesis that would run it.
I did like Gunstar Heroes. Gunstar Heroes 2 was okay, but it wasn't as good as the first one.
Oh, Gunstar Superheroes for the DS.
I thought that was a Game Boy Advance.
Yeah, Game Boy Advance. That's right.
Yeah.
I have it. It's in my my portable games drawer in the living room.
It's a good game.
The infamous game room. Yeah, you know what though? It felt more like just a remix of the first game than an actual sequel.
It did.
So it had a lot of the same bosses and levels and shit. But
Seven Force and everything. I know you had to like 7 Force growing up.
Oh yeah, and well, and the game is a little bit more palatable to me now because of the fact that I've got the Retron 5, so I can play it on my 73-inch TV. So that's kind of a plus.
Are you able to get forum moderators in these chats?
Shit, I don't know. Probably not.
Yeah, because I'm looking at the chat, looking at all this stupidity, and yeah, it should be removed, but I don't really feel like monitoring it. And
well, that's why it was, you know, when I was over in mine, it was easy because I was telling people post questions that you want me to ask in the comments because I couldn't get the goddamn Q&A app to work. So.
Bond, you still ain't played Devil May Cry Reboot? I have never played any Devil May Cry game to completion. Those action hack and slash games really aren't my thing outside of Ninja Gaiden 1, or I should say Ninja Gaiden Black, like the rebooted series, and Ninja Gaiden 2. And after that, I was done. Ninja Gaiden 2 wasn't even that good.
Devil May Cry. I beat the first 3. And for whatever reason, I never did finish Devil May Cry 4. I had like maybe 2 levels left, and then I got distracted by something else, and I never got back around to it. And by the time that I did, my save file was gone because my PS3 at the time had been stolen. And I just never went back and replayed it all the way to the end. And now I did beat the remake, the reboot that was ass.
Was that bad?
It was not good. Now I have not. I've been told that because of being up to 60 frames per second and being a lot smoother with everything, that the re-release of it is a lot better. But I haven't actually played it, so I can't speak to that.
This guy just asked me what was my favorite PS1 JRPG. Easily Xenogears.
Xenogears was a good one.
Second CD could have been better, though. I guess they ran out of time and budget, though.
Somebody asked me that in my stream, and I told them it depended on what kind of Japanese RPG they were talking about. I said if they're talking about action RPG, then I'd have to go with Alundra. Yep. And I told them that it was it would probably be between, as far as regular RPG turn-based, it would be between like Final Fantasy IX and I can't remember what other one I told them.
How's Alundra 2? I never played it.
Alundra 2 was a piece of horse shit. I still have my copy. It's horrible. It's a terrible game. It's
so
nothing.
I didn't miss anything. Then that's good.
No, well, for one thing, they went from having hand-drawn characters to using polygon models, and it just looked like shit. And it wasn't fun. It wasn't a good game. It was kind of like that. It was kind of like comparing Brave Fencer Musashi to that PS2 Musashi game that came out. That was just
what was it called? I forgot what this PS2 version was called. Damn. Somebody asked what my favorite RPG of all time is. What did you say, RPG or JRPG? If it's JRPG, I got to go with Final Fantasy VI and Xenogears. Those are my 2 favorite.
I liked Final Fantasy VI, and I liked Xenogears. I remember what the other one was Star Ocean. I liked Star Ocean on the PS1, and I liked Lunar on the Sega CD.
Lunar is good. I had the PS1 versions. I didn't get the Sega CD versions.
Yeah. But there's a lot of really good ones on the Saturn. So, you're talking Albert Odyssey, Magic Knight Ray Earth, Panzer Dragoon Saga, of course.
I knew you were going to name that, you piece of crap. How did you luck out and get that game so cheaply?
Well, sometimes Good things come back to you, I guess you could say.
What is
Well,
PBS? This guy keeps saying, "Do we hate PBS?"
do you guys hate PBS? I, for one, support public broadcasting. Back in the day, that was the only way that you could watch stuff like Red Dwarf on American TV. So I'm all for PBS.
That's what I'm thinking he's talking about, but it's got to be game related.
It is, but I'm being a smartass because I don't know what he's talking about when he says PBS. So I'm just going to assume he's talking about public broadcasting.
Oh, this guy just broke my heart. He just asked me, did I ever play Shining Force 3?
You played part of Shining Force 3 just like the rest of us poor American schmucks played the first part of it.
Did you ever import the other two parts?
No, I did not.
Oh, dude,
For those of you
that just needs to go ahead.
For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, Shining Force 3 in Japan had 3 different releases. It was split into 3 parts. And when they brought it to the United States, they only released the first part. So we never got part 2 or part 3 in the States.
Kingdom Hearts, I don't play. I think it's kiddie trash. It doesn't appeal to me. If that's what anybody else likes, okay. I just don't like Kingdom Hearts. I'm sorry.
I like Kingdom Hearts because it's a fun game. You know me. Kitty graphics don't have any effect on me as long as the game is fun, and that's because of the fact that I came up in the 80s, the 70s and 80s when all the graphics were kitty looking.
Like that one JRPG you played for PS2 that just turned me off completely. I couldn't even look at it.
You talking about Ni no Kuni?
Yep, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, that's about as kitty as it gets, but that's a fantastic RPG. I mean, it combines the turn-based play of something like, say, Dragon Quest VIII with Pokemon-style monster collecting. So it's a fun game. You just got to get around the graphic style.
My friend's girlfriend's obsessed with Pokemon. It's ridiculous.
But then again, I'm an anime fan, and I'm a big fan of Studio Ghibli. So I
like anime too. It's just like when I play a game and I want to set out on a quest to save the world, I just can't take it seriously that a 6-year-old kid is going to take over the world and save and all that.
Wait a minute. Renegado 140 wants to know, what do you guys think of Burning Rangers for the Sega Saturn? Well, what I think of it is that it's sitting on my shelf right now. And it was a game that had big ambitions, but the technology couldn't quite catch up with the ambitions. There was some camera issues with that game, and I don't think the graphics were far enough along at that time for that game to really work as well as it should have. You could have fun with it if you could deal with the controls, but that was a game that really, really screamed for dual analog stick and didn't have it.
Just makes you wonder. They actually had a build of Shenmue running on Saturn. They tried to push Saturn really hard.
Yeah.
If they didn't release it earlier than it was because it wasn't ready, and if they released it as a 3D console instead of a pseudo 2D console, they could have done a lot better than they did.
From Des Monsta, have you ever played a game called Radiata? I think you're talking about Radiata Stories. Yeah, that's a PS2 RPG from Square Enix, and that was a good game. I have it on my shelf right now.
Yeah, you're going to be saying that a lot, aren't you? Oh, I have it on my shelf right now. Yeah, I have that on my shelf right now, too. Oh, do you have that on your shelf, Blackbot? Nah, guess what? I got that on my shelf.
Yeah.
Golden Sun.
Just like you learned on Twitter that I have the original Mega Man on my shelf right now.
I got 2, 3, 4, and 6.
I think I'm missing 4 and 5. I may have 4. I think I'm missing 4 and 5, and I've got all the other ones.
I thought about getting the other ones, but then I'm like, I got the Mega Man collection on my shelf. Like, do I really need to go back and hunt down the NES versions?
For me, that would be a definite yes. And eventually I will find them and for a decent price, and I will purchase them. But right now, Mega Man 5 is running up in the 90s. So,
did the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy? Did the Final Fantasy 13 trilogy deserve to be hated? Yes. And yes. Endless
without question. 13. That game should be eternally scorned. That should be a point of shame for Square Enix for the rest of their days. Game was beyond horrible, and it deserved every bad thing that I said about it in my review.
Guy says Sega is overrated, and they had one successful console. I mean, they did have one successful console, but I still think the Dreamcast was a great system. The Saturn
Here-
had its good games. Even
Here's
the
what I have
Sega
to say.
Master
Here's what I
System.
have to say about that. They had one successful console, but they had hundreds of successful games. And I care more about the games than I care about the console. Believe it or not. Believe it or not, I care more about the games than I do about the console. And the reason that I happen to be a PlayStation supporter online is because Sega doesn't make consoles anymore. Prior to that, with the up until Sega got out of console manufacturing, the other systems were the ones that I would pick up after support for the Sega system had bled out. So, I didn't buy a PS2 or a GameCube or an Xbox until they stopped making games for the Dreamcast. I didn't buy an N64 or a PS1 until they stopped making games for the Saturn. You know?
Sega was too hard-headed of a company. Like for the Genesis, they had a lot of success in America, but barely any in Japan, and the Japan branch was just too hard-headed to deal with it. And the Saturn came out, and they had tons of success in Japan, but they didn't have any success in America. So like
Well,
it got flip-flopped. The
well,
Saturn, believe it or not, sold more than the N64 in Japan.
I think a lot of that had to do with the fact that Sega was split into Sega of Japan and Sega of America, and the people running Sega of America had very different ideas compared to what Sega of Japan wanted to do. So they were constantly fighting each other, and that's part of what led to the Saturn's failure in America. But mainly it had a really bad kickoff because they wanted to beat the PlayStation market. So they, without any prior warning, they announced at E3 that year, 1995 E3. It was the beginning of the summer. I was at Walt Disney World at the time that the announcement was made. Oh, guess what? By the way, Saturn's already on the shelf. You can go out in the store and buy it now for
Just got
$400,
and it has no games.
and it has no games. All it had was three first party exclusives like Daytona USA, Panzer Dragoon, and something else. I think it was a soccer game or
Something
something,
ported from the arcade, probably.
or Clockwork Knight or something. I can't. It was the launch lineup was pitiful because none of the third party developers had any of their stuff ready for it.
This guy
And so,
wants. Oh, continue.
and so not only did that piss off the third party developers, but it also pissed off a lot of these retail chains to the point that, which one was it? Was it Walmart that just refused to carry the Saturn because of what Sega had done with that? So, it was $100 more expensive, didn't have shit when it launched, and pissed off some retailers that refused to carry it out of principle alone.
Yeah.
So they fucked themselves on that deal.
A lot of people are asking, what do we think of the Xbox brand past to present? The original Xbox, well, it wasn't as good as PlayStation 2. I liked it a lot in college because when I found out that we could plug our Xboxes into the network, I'm like, wait a second. I see other people playing Halo on the network. I'm like, yo, you can plug your Xboxes into your computer wall and we can play Halo from dorm to dorm.
Yep.
So the original Xbox was good.
Well, that wasn't the only thing. You could also mod it to where you could download any game onto the hard drive and then upload it on the network and use the network as a file server. So any game you wanted to play, you just pulled it off the file server to your hard drive, and bam, you were playing it.
Pretty much.
So for somebody, a group of people that didn't have a whole lot of money, that was that was about as good as it got. I mean, that made it even more piratable than the Dreamcast was, and the Dreamcast was piratable
too.
as fuck.
Yeah, I used to love those NES ROM CDs you get for the Dreamcast and stuff.
Yeah.
That you can play everything. I mean, the Xbox brand has always been decent. The problem is its identity. The PlayStation will always have an identity. The Xbox brand's identity will always and forever be PC gaming's younger, stupider, or more stupid, redheaded stepchild.
It's because it's always going to be tied to Microsoft.
Exactly. Like, look over at the Xbox fans you see on YouTube right now. Xbox brand is mainly for people too stupid to be able to run and build a PC. That's pretty much it. That's my opinion anyway.
Octopus Joy. You're talking about Sonic Jam for the Saturn. Yeah, that that's a whole long convoluted story there too, because there was a
That game got canceled, didn't it?
no, Sonic Jam came out. It was Sonic, what did they call it? Sonic Extreme. There was a Sonic game that was made for Saturn, and it never made it to release. It was never completed. You can get a pirated copy of it now on the internet, and the way it works, it kind of reminded me of that Saturn game Bug. It was kind of like that, only you could move in. You could move really fast with Sonic, but it didn't feel like a Sonic game. They hadn't really hammered down the idea of how to make Sonic work 3D. And to be honest, I don't think they ever have really
No,
made Sonic
no.
work well in 3D. I mean, Sonic Adventure was okay, but he just didn't work very well in 3D because of the speed. I mean, when you take something that's supposed to be about moving fast down a track and turn it into a 3D track where you're not just moving left and right, you're moving left and right and back and forwards and backwards too. It makes it to where you spend more of your time readjusting yourself because you accidentally slammed into something than you do actually playing the game. And the only way that they could fix that was by adding that auto lock-on feature to enemies. So then you spend the whole thing either running in a straight line or bouncing off enemies and chaining these endless enemy attacks. So I just don't think they really figured it out successfully. And even when Nintendo tried to help them out, and they came out with that Sonic, what was it called, Sonic World or whatever for the
Colors and Flop
no
World.
colors
No,
was good.
it was Flop World.
Yeah, the one that was for Wii U, where Nintendo helped them design it. That even that just felt like they took Mario Galaxy and stuck Mario in it, Sonic in it. So that didn't really feel like a Sonic game either. I don't think it's possible to capture the feel of the original games in a 3D space. Honestly, I think Sonic is a game that they should have kept 2D and kind of like New Super Mario Brothers, and just made the graphics and whatnot as best as the newest technology could handle.
Yeah,
And that,
agreed.
but unfortunately, at that point, the whole craze was 3D,
3D.
and instead of like coming up with a great new 3D franchise that was built around the concept of a 3D platformer, they tried to take a 2D platformer like they did with Mario, but Mario wasn't known for speed tracks and like that. He wasn't known for his super speed, so Mario could adjust to the slower style of a 3D platformer, and Sonic could not. Not unless you wanted to make it just feel like every other 3D platformer out there and take the speed aspect of it out, which would have defeated the point.
Pretty much. But back to the Xbox brand. I will always appreciate the Xbox brand for pushing like more PC features in the consoles, like hard drives and Ethernet port and the whole online aspect. Even though right now it's like the main contributor to these developers being super lazy.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I guess I'm paying more attention to the chat than
Oh,
you
maybe.
are. But one more thing that I want to mention, uh, where Desmonsta is talking about how Castlevania should never have been made in 3D; it should stay 2D, and that the 3D Castlevanias were just clones of Devil May Cry. Uh, Keeping the Castlevanias that were out for PS3 and Xbox 360. Keep in mind those weren't the first 3D Castlevanias. There was 3D Castlevanias on
They
N64, and
sucked.
there was two of them that weren't too bad on the PS2. But if you want, honestly, now I'm going to say this one more time. I've said it once before, but I'll say it again. If you want to know what a Castlevania game should be like in 3D, play Bloodborne, because that's what it is. If you stop and think about the way Bloodborne works, it's essentially a 3D Symphony of the Night.
I guess if you're using that stupid Ivy Soul Calibur chain whip thing, I guess. So I mean, I don't know.
Well, remember, in Symphony of the Night, you could use a sword and several other different weapons.
Yeah, that game was too easy. That was my only problem.
Symphony of the Night.
Or I mean, not so. Yes, I was confusing with Circle of the Moon, but yes, Symphony of the Night. It's too easy.
The last boss had a little bit of challenge to it, but if you had leveled yourself up enough, it wasn't that big.
That's probably exactly what happened. Was I explored the whole castle and I just basically like three-shotted him and killed him.
Two
So it
Buck
was too
Friday
fun.
saying Castlevania Legacy of Darkness for N64 was amazing. Yeah, amazingly bad. There was very little good about the N64 Castlevanias. They were, oh God, no, no, please no.
I heard the recent 3D Castlevanias that are like a mix between like Shadow of the Colossus and God of War aren't too bad.
Uh,
I mean, I
I
heard they
felt I
weren't
felt the new
amazing, but they weren't bad.
the new Castlevanias to me felt like they just took the elements of Devil May Cry that they liked, and they took the elements of God of War that they liked, mixed them together, and slapped Castlevania crap all over them. You know, they were fun to play, but they didn't feel like Castlevania at all.
Best Castlevania ever. I like Super on 4 or 4 on Super Nintendo.
Oh, Super Castlevania 4 on
Yep.
Super NES. Yeah, that's probably the best one of the bunch. But as far as one that was that had more of the Metroidvania style,
Rondo of Blood.
then you got to go with for the Metroidvania style. You'd have to go with Symphony of the Night, or there's a couple of them on Game Boy Advance and DS that were just excellent.
I have all the DS ones. They're all good, like Circle of the Moon, Harmony, Dissonance, and everything. But I just like the eight-way whip. That's really never been any other of the Castlevanias I can think of.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't know why they never brought that back.
Yeah, being able to hit stuff at an angle and whatnot. I don't know why they never brought that back either. You would think that they would keep it in there because it added such an extra dimension of play to the game.
Yeah, because you could like grapple onto things.
Yep.
This guy keeps asking us, what do we think of the new Star Fox? We got to answer him. He's asked like a billion times.
I'm not all that impressed with it graphically speaking, but as long as the gameplay is there, that's all that'll matter to me.
I'm not impressed with it graphically. I honestly don't feel like I want to look at the second screen while playing, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of enemies on screen. Now, if they wanted to use the second screen, what I think it should be used for is like to look around the cockpit, or I think it'd be awesome like to use it for bombing runs. Like if you look at it, it would show you where you are in proximity to like the ground. You know what I mean? It's like drop bombs on the ground. But
That's one thing that I'll be disappointed with is if the new Star Fox is just the exactly like the old games, but just with better graphics. It's got to have more to it. Now I know it's got the missions where you can go on the ground and you're running around in there, but one of the older games had that too. So it's not. Yeah, they need to add stuff to it to not like the Batmobile, but this is
Batmobile.
you have a lot more room to play with now. You have a lot more RAM that you can play with, and so I would like there to be. I would almost like a Star Fox space RPG where you have all your space missions, but you're also having to do some RPG type stuff. And I'm not saying
Don't say Dinosaur Planet.
No, and I wasn't gonna say that it needed to be like Star Fox Adventures either. Oh my god.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Dinosaur Planet.
Right, that game. Oh god, that game was such ass.
The fur looks cool though.
Yeah.
One thing I was going to mention about that game, highly disappointed it doesn't have online multiplayer, because I like the multiplayer on the N64, and I thought that 4-on-4 dogfights would be pretty sick.
You would think so. You would think that would be fun. But
I thought that would be awesome, but Nintendo
for whatever
doesn't want online.
Yeah, I know. But that it's like, why can't we have both? It's like company. It's either they want to have local multiplayer but no online, or online but no local. And this Godzilla game that everyone keeps asking me about is a perfect example, because it's got online multiplayer but it doesn't have local multiplayer. And that's a game that in my mind would be built for split screen player versus player. And it doesn't have it, and that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. So that's a little preview of my review coming up. But
Some developers just make design choices. I'm just like, what the hell were you thinking? And like, they have all these testers. Like, nobody told you like this was just dumb, and you just didn't like listen. Like, I just like feel like if I was in game design, I wouldn't even have to contribute to anything other than watching the finished product. Like, nah, change this. This is dumb. Just don't get it sometimes.
no,
Metroid Federation. What do you think about that?
I think that I think if Retro Studios, wanted to bend me over and fuck me, they need to at least take me out for dinner first and buy some lube.
I don't have any interest in it. I want what I refer to as Metroid Genesis, the game that takes place after Fusion, where they infuse her with Metroid DNA. So I think the sequel, not one of these interquels or prequels or side story games like Prime or Other M. I want a
Yeah, please
sequel.
not another. Please not another Other M.
Yeah, I want a sequel to Fusion because right now she's pretty much human, Metroid, and Chozo. So I think she should have a suit that has Metroid-like powers, and I think that'd be awesome. Because she has the Metroid DNA in her body now, so why shouldn't she be able to interact with that part of her DNA with her suit powers now? And you could have crazy absorption powers. Maybe the suit could evolve. You could do all sorts of crazy shit.
Yeah, but at the same time, I like the Metroid Prime games.
But I've been
But
craving for a 2D one bad.
I was about to say the same thing. I mean, that what's the name of that game that came out for PS4? I did a 10-minute taste on it.
That sounds pretty
It was an indie.
sexual.
It was an indie game. Fuck you. It was an indie game. I'm having to go to my own page to even remember it. 40 years old, guys. Sorry. Let me see here. What was the name of that fucking indie game?
You should ask Jack Move Johnny. He'll know.
Where is it? God damn it! I know I did a 10-minute taste on this thing. 10-minute taste. Axiom Verge. Axiom Verge. If you're craving a 2D Metroid game, get you a copy of Axiom Verge.
Oh, that's that game that Rev was hating on hardcore because it has like NES graphics, right?
Probably, but I think it looks more like a 16-bit game than an 8-bit game.
Like one of the early Genesis games, then, right?
Well, no, because it also has some effects that the Genesis wouldn't have been able to pull off. It's kind of like a 32-bit game that's trying to emulate the look of a Nintendo game.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Do a Super Metroid HD. Yeah, I could do that.
It's a good game. It's a good game. I mean, it's obvious when you play it where its influence came from because it's got Metroid written all over it.
I like how this guy right here is lying to himself, saying he's pretty good with his purchase of the Wii U. You know damn well you're not.
Well, I'm good with my purchase of the Wii U because I'm a collector. But as far as there is yet to be a game on Wii U that is like must play. One where, like I said earlier, when I'm at work or I'm not at home, I'm thinking about playing it. There hasn't been a single one on Wii U for me personally. Now, there are people that are diehard fans of Super Smash Brothers and Mario Kart that are going to disagree with me, and that's fine. But I've lived through a ton of Super Smash Brothers games, which was never one of my favorite games to begin with, and I've lived through a ton of Mario games. And, Super Mario 3D World just didn't do it for me. I'm sorry, it just didn't. It was a good game, but it wasn't anything mind-blowing that just totally reinvented what Mario was for me. It wasn't at all. I would have preferred to have Mario Galaxy 3 over Super Mario 3D World.
I just feel like I've played Nintendo games. Like I've said, I understand a lot of those people that like the Nintendo games, but I've been playing these same games since like I started gaming. I'm just like, I just want to see new things and new ideas. Like I got tired of Madden. I got tired of Halo. I'm excited for Street Fighter 5, but I'm not like, oh my God, Street Fighter 5. Like after a while, when you play the same franchise over and over, you just get burnt out.
Well, that was the reason why I was out of PC gaming for so long. Because when I got out of PC gaming, it's like everything was either real time strategy or online first person shooter.
So we're talking about mid to late '90s, then, right?
No, we're talking like the one that broke the straw that broke the camel's back for me was Unreal Tournament 2004.
I call those the dark ages, the Windows Vista ages.
That's when I got out of PC gaming, and I didn't come back to it until I bought that gaming PC uh, last spring. And even then, I don't play on it that much because I've just got too much to play downstairs to warrant going upstairs to play on the PC. There's just there's not enough must-have games that I can only play on PC that warrants me spending a whole lot of time on it because I'm not big into the real-time strategy stuff or the simulators, and I'm not. I've got so burnt out on online deathmatch that it just bores me to tears to even think about
Dude, I
getting into a
remember you
match.
used to say that, and now I'm in exactly that same place. Like, too much Battlefield, too much Planet Side. Like, I couldn't even get myself motivated to play a multiplayer first-person shooter anymore. A good campaign, yeah, but not multiplayer.
Exactly. You're at now where I was when I joined this community. What, 6 years ago now?
Yep.
I got to where that's why I loved the new Wolfenstein so much because they didn't bother with the multiplayer. They just cared about making the campaign as good as they could make it, and it was. That's been my favorite shooter of this gen so far.
I'm hoping Doom 4 can change that, though, because they're trying a lot of new different things, so we'll see what happens.
If Doom 4 can recapture the craziness and the speed of Doom without it being too much in the rage direction.
Oh God, I hate that game.
I could see it, but
I'm worried about that though. They're gunning for 1080p, 60 frames per second, the best looking 1080p, 60 frames per second game you can make. I don't think the consoles will be able to handle a game that runs that quickly and that fast. I mean, look at Doom when it came out, and look at like the Super Nintendo version of Doom.
Right. Well, I mean, I think they're either going to end up capping it at 30 frames per second on the consoles, or it's going to end up looking bad compared to other shooters that are out on the consoles. Although Wolfenstein runs 60 frames per second on the PS4.
That game can't be 30 frames per second, be called a success. That game will be compromised heavily at 30 frames per second. It won't be the game it should be.
I mean, I think Wolfenstein looks good on the PS4, but as far as the level of detail and whatnot, it doesn't stand up to like Killzone Shadowfall.
No.
But it does have a better frame rate than Killzone Shadowfall. It just doesn't have as many effects, and the graphics are still a little cartoony compared to what you got on Killzone.
You see Omega Loser's newest rap video?
Yeah, yes, I did.
Shout outs to Omega. If anybody hasn't seen it, go to his channel right now, watch his new video.
Hey Omega, why are you still on Black Bond's dick, man? Where's my 7th rap? There needs to be a 7th rap. You've done Black Bond enough. You've done Black Bond so much his asshole is sore. It's time for a 7th rap.
Baron wanted him to make him a wrestling theme.
I could see that. That'd probably actually work pretty good.
Yeah, but Baron should have to own up to his end of the bet before he gets any theme.
Well, that's true. That's true. Baron, that was like the biggest lose in the history of lose.
How did you think the Wii U would outsell the PlayStation 4 by 2015?
I have no idea. I don't even think he really believed it when he said it, because how could you?
And then
I think that was like wishful thinking. He was just hoping beyond hope that something would happen to make what he said a reality, and it didn't happen.
And then he thought that the Smash Brothers game would sell 2.4 million a week. I'm like, get out of here.
No way. No, there's no way that was going to happen.
It hasn't even sold 2.4 million yet.
I just bought my copy used a few days ago. Yeah, because it was a lot cheaper used than it was. I didn't even pay anything for it because Gamers Alley, dun, 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 local store drop, Gamers Alley, they had a buy two get one free on used games, and so when Eighth went to get his copy of Elder Scrolls with what was left of his vacation money, I chipped in and got a used copy of Saints Row 4 for PlayStation 4, and then Smash Brothers for Wii U was our free used game.
What is your does your son ever try to play any of the old things, any of the old consoles?
He dabbles in them. Like he actually likes the Game Gear. I've got a mint Game Gear with
God.
a handful of about 12 or 13 games, and he likes to play it from time to time.
Does you have the
And
battery charger? Because that thing sucked up six double A's quicker than anything. God,
yeah,
man.
I've got all of the accessories and everything for it, carrying case, all of it, and of course I've got the Retron 5, and it's hooked right up to the TV. So anytime he wants to play anything that system supports, he just has to grab it off the shelf, pop it in, and play it.
That's good.
But he's got my Xbox 360 upstairs, and he's occasionally he'll grab one of the consoles off the shelf, take it upstairs, and play it. But he dabbles in it. But
How is the Retron 5? Is it worth picking up?
yeah, you just got to know how to take care of one. And when I say that, when you're taking a cartridge out of it, you have to press it's a very lightweight console, and you have to press your hand down on the top of it and slowly ease the cartridge out. If you just grab the cartridge and yank it out, you're going to end up bending the pins in there, and then it won't play anything.
No, that's how I always pulled out cartridges. You push down the console and pull the game out.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
that's common
think
sense, though.
it's like they didn't want there to be bad connections, so they made the pins really really tight on all the cartridge slots. And so if you don't take care when you're pulling your cartridges out, you can end up yanking the pins right out of the damn thing.
Yeah,
So
that's common sense. I always put my games in and out like that.
the only other problem that I've had with it is on occasion you'll pop a game in there and it won't recognize what it is. So you have to pull it out and then pop it back in because it's an emulation system because it doesn't actually play the game off of the cartridge. You pop it in and it compares what it finds on the cartridge to a database that's installed in the system. And when it finds that game, it basically downloads the game off the cartridge into memory and emulates it off of the memory.
So how do they sell that?
Not exactly legally because the software that they used for it was a freeware emulator that's another company had developed, and they actually got into they got into some trouble with them on that, and there may be litigation on it now, as far as I know.
So it's going to be hard to tame one, then, isn't it?
No, it's not that hard. I mean, they carry them at my used game store. You're not going to be able to walk into a GameStop and find one, but they're all over online. And if you have a local game shop, they probably have one or can get it for you.
How much do they cost?
Under 150. It's like 139 or something like that.
That's not bad. That might be a good pickup then.
The nice thing about it is that it has controller ports on the sides where you can use the original controllers because the wireless Bluetooth controllers that come with it are ass.
I wouldn't doubt that. They're just probably there just to get you going in case you don't have anything.
Well, instead of having a crossbar, they've got like this analog little nub thing that it'll give you a blister on your thumb within a couple of hours of playing it.
Ew. Damn, what was I about to ask you? Oh yeah, does your kid ever have like friends that come over like, oh my god, look at all these games?
Oh yeah, his best friend, the first time he ever stepped foot in the house, he came walking in and walked into the game room, and he's like, "This is heaven. I never want to leave."
Pretty much.
Yes.
His friends probably begged to come over to your place.
Everyone that I know that's into gaming, it's kind of a shock for them the first time I have them come over and see it. It's like, I tell them, "Yeah, I've got a pretty good collection," and then they come over and they see it, and the look on their face, it's priceless.
Yeah, when in doubt, it's pretty damn impressive.
I mean, I'm nowhere near like AVGN's collection or anything like that,
He
but
gets a lot
you
of
know,
donations and
yeah,
stuff,
he gets
so
a lot of donated games. He gets a lot of donated games. Whereas, uh, I don't get donated games anymore. All I have is that Patreon account, and you're talking like uh, so many people canceled off of it when I had my when my family member was in the hospital that it's like maybe $20 a month now, something like that. And I don't blame them. I mean, if you pay for something, you should get it. And they were paying for me to make videos, and I wasn't making videos for a good long while. And then once that was all squared away, I went straight into vacation, and then of course I came back with this overtime thing. So I don't blame people for canceling out on that. That's
I have two
I would have
people
done the
for four
exact same thing.
dollars.
I would have done the exact same thing.
Yeah, well, real life comes for YouTube, at least for some people. I have $4 worth of donations coming in.
Des Monsta, I've seen the videos of Mike Matei's collection that he did with Alpha Omega Sin. His collection, honestly, is not that much bigger than mine. He just has some more of the Japanese only stuff.
Who's Mike Matei? Isn't that the guy
Mike
with?
Matei, that's
Yeah,
motherfucker Mike. That's the other
yes,
guy
I
in
figured.
AVGN's videos. Uh, Alpha Omega Sin has a good sized collection too. Mine is not quite that big, but it's getting there.
Mine's actually pretty small when you think about it. Mine is kind of just pretty much the essentials. I mean, it's pretty big, but it's not like extravagant like yours. Mine's pretty much has always just covered the essentials.
Well,
Not
it's hard.
complaining
It's
about it.
those the bigger, more successful consoles. It's definitely harder to be a completionist with those. That's why I tell people, if you want to get started in retro game collecting, start out with a system that failed because it's easier to build up a complete library for those. Like, say, for example, the Atari Jaguar. That would be an easy one to collect, and that's why I haven't really gotten that big into Jaguar collecting. I mean, short of the CD-ROM drive and the games that were out for the CD-ROM, uh, there weren't that many games released for it, and there's not that many on them that are big money items. So that would be a good one. TurboGrafx 16 is a great one to
Oh,
start
I
out with.
love that system with what the hell is his name? Bonk.
Yep,
Was it Bloody Wolf or Operation Wolf? I think it was Bloody Wolf,
it's
right?
Bloody Wolf. Yeah, I have that game.
And hold on, don't tell me. Damn, the ninja, not ninja. Was it Ninja Storm or Ninja?
Ninja Spirit.
Ninja. There we go. Ninja Spirit and the wrestling game.
Yeah. There was a.
The wrestling game was fun.
Are you talking about Battle Royal?
Yep. The yellow guy with the black dude was easily the best guy, though.
Yeah.
I don't know why he was so good. He just beat up everybody.
I have all of those. But the one caveat with it is that, again, the CD-ROM drive for it is a lot harder to come by than the unit itself. And there are a small handful of TurboGrafx games that are going to run you big money. There's one of them that runs something like $2,500. I can't remember the name. I can't remember the name of it, but it's a side-scrolling shooter where you're a witch on a broom.
Why the hell is it so expensive?
Because there weren't that many
copies made.
It was like one of the last games released for it in the U.S. So I mean, if you got it imported from Japan, there's this little device that you can buy that'll allow you to play any PC Engine games on your TurboGrafx 16s. A little converter thing that plugs into the slot on the front. If you get one of those, you can get the game from Japan for a lot cheaper.
Yeah, because all those damn Saturn games in Japanese, they're all cheap compared to their American counterparts.
Oh yeah, like Panzer Dragoon Saga. If you got the Japanese version, you can get it for like under 50, I think.
Yep, you want that American 200-300.
It's closer to 5 now.
Jesus.
Yeah, but that's one that just keeps going up and up and up because I think there was less than 10,000 copies of it released in the United States.
Yep.
and a lot of those are probably unplayable now from scratches and God knows what else.
Should I get a
Luckily, I
PS3
have
or
one that's in
3DS?
mint condition.
Yeah,
I mean,
keep
it's not
that.
sealed, but it is.
Keep
It looks
bragging
like
about
brand new, brand spanking new.
Keep bragging about it. Oh,
Dreamcast would be a good one to start collecting.
yeah, Dreamcast games aren't expensive really at all.
No, I think there's just maybe one or two that are over the $100 mark, and that's about it.
This guy wants us to play Contra 2 players. Contra is a lot easier one player because I coined the phrase "contrad" when I was younger. When somebody jumps up the screen fast and the person below them can catch up and you just die, the screen eats you. Like, wait for me! And when they jump too high and the screen catches up and kills them.
New School Gamer 91. No, I do not regularly drink beer. Every now and again, I'll have one. I'm not a drinker. Really, I got that out of my system when I was younger. Every now and again, I will imbibe, but when I do, I don't drink beer. It's either like a flavored malt liquor or straight liquor.
This dude's drinking straight 40s.
I ain't talking about straight 40s. I'm talking like
straight out the brown bag.
I'm talking like Bacardi 151 right from the bottle. That's or Jack Daniels. I'm talking straight
Bacardi
liquor.
150. You are disgusting.
What?
Bacardi 151 straight out the bottle.
You don't like rum?
Dude, Bacardi 151 is like the devil's juice.
It's good shit.
I can't even. When my friend graduated from Penn State, African dude, first generation American, his parents spent 10 grand on the party.
I got a bottle of it sitting on my kitchen shelf right now.
Disgusting. So 3 o'clock rolls around. We drank everything in the house, like the native Guinness and everything, straight, the real shit, not the imported shit. And there's only one thing left we haven't drank. It's Bacardi 151. So I just remember that bottle being pulled out, and next thing I know, it was morning. I couldn't find anybody, and it became a manhunt to find everybody. And my one boy, I go into his room, and he's just in his bed, covered in vomit. I was like,
Well, man, I mean, either you got the tolerance or you don't. I mean, that's just the way it goes.
When you drink that, it feels like somebody's just carving a hot blade into your stomach. It's so disgusting.
Yeah, well, like I said, I've got a bottle of it sitting not 15 feet from me right now. I just, I'm not a big drinker. I used to be when I was single and had fewer responsibilities, but that was a different time. And now it's like, if I have like a Mike's Hard Lemonade, that's about as strong as I get. And I never, I had my beer phase, but for the most part, you drank beer because it got you drunk fast. You didn't drink it because of the awesome taste. And beer's so fresh, it tastes like it came straight from the horse. I mean, come on.
Pretty much. People are asking about. Listen, I'm not answering any questions on recreational drug usages, advocating it, or anything. I'm not going to answer that in stream. Sorry.
Nope. All I can tell you.
Drinking, that's as far as I'll go.
I will tell you this. I never at any point in my life have I ever imbibed in recreational drug use. And that's all I'm going to say.
Yep, that doesn't need to be discussed. There's young kids here. They got to go to bed. It's 1 o'clock. Anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this up?
Well, you were talking about alcohol. A friend of mine recently made a trip over to the Dominican Republic, and he brought me back a bottle of Dominican tequila.
Oh, good stuff, because whenever we go down to the islands, my dad always brings back a lot of Crucian rum.
So he hasn't brought it over yet, but I'm looking forward to it. But I've always been rum has always been like my weakness. I love rum, and Captain Morgan used to. I don't know if it's still out now, but they used to have a coconut flavored rum. It was called Pelican Bay, and I used to enjoy that one a lot because you could mix that with just about anything and it tastes good.
Any comments on thoughts on CRTs or clowns on the internet not willing to play Street Fighter after talking mad crap?
Look, I'm gonna say this one more time. Okay? I'm gonna say this one more time. Here's a little experiment for you folks out there. Go get you 2 CRTs. Okay? And then get you an Xbox 360 and get you a PS3. Hook them all up together. And on the and put Madden 2007 in both. Turn them on, start a game. And then on a CRT, you will visually, with your eyes, see the difference between a game running at 60 frames per second and a game running at 30 frames per second on a CRT. Enough said.
Pretty much. Oh, that's one thing we can talk about before we head out. Hulk Hogan. What'd you think about that?
Oh, jeez.
Booker T was right. We coming for you.
Yeah. Well, it's amazing that it's like people that you grew up having an affinity for, how so many of them seem to fall to shame for one thing or another. I mean, you had Mel Gibson yelling at Jewish folk while drunk, and Hulk Hogan starts throwing the N-word around while getting some side ass from his best friend's wife.
Why do you think we never had a black world champion?
At his best friend's wife's or his best friend's invitation, I might add.
Who are we talking about, Gawker or Bubba the Love Sponge?
Bubba the Love Sponge. That's who he was screwing in that video. Was God. Bubba the Love Sponge's wife. And Bubba the Love Sponge invited him to do it because he wanted to get him on camera so he could have something over on him, see? And that's how that whole video got created. He set up a hidden camera in their bedroom at their house, invited Hogan over to get a piece of his wife's ass. Hogan accepted, went over there, and filmed himself unknowingly fucking another man's wife. And
like Tyrone.
And unfortunately talked about a lot of other things while he was there.
Okay, I gotta ask this real quick. Hold on real quick. This guy's talking about Vince is a hypocrite. He called another guy nigga. That is not the same thing. One, that's scripted TV. Two, that's a scripted line. And three, in the context, that was, what's up? Not, I hate you. I hate all these people. And I hate people. I'm going to use that hateful word. So don't even construe or confuse the two. Those are two completely different things.
Somebody in the comments said that there were people that thought the Trey Brotherhood was racist. One of the more at the time that the Trey Brotherhood was big, one of the more prominent members of it was General G. So I think, and pretty much everybody loved General G. So I think you'd have a hard time finding anyone that would think that the Trey Brotherhood was racist.
9.5.
Yeah, 9.5 out of 10. Africa 9.5.
Whatever happened to the digital puppet?
He's still General G is still around. He's just not making videos. I mean, his channel kind of died when he started doing nothing but cell phone reviews because the cell phone companies were sending him free phones and shit to review them. And people got kind of bored with watching videos about cell phones all the time. And
phone so war.
But, I talked to him the other day, a couple of weeks ago, I think, very briefly. I used to have his cell phone number in my phone, but that phone got stolen. So along with all that other stuff, several. But I talked to him over message the other day, and he's still around. He's still gaming, but for whatever reason, he's just not making videos.
Yeah, so. Razor and Rai quit too.
Who?
His cousin, Razor.
Oh yeah. Got a lot of the old schoolers that are dropping like flies. There aren't that many of us left.
I liked it better, even like those guys like Razor and Rai preferred PlayStation. You look at the guys that preferred a certain platform like last generation compared to the guys that are corporate cum-guzzling lackeys this generation. Two completely stark differences.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you could say what you want about MLD, about his presentation, about his delivery, and whatnot, but he knew his shit a lot better than the guys that we have now. I mean, it was just a different.
Take a bullet from Phil Spencer.
No, it was not. It was not a. It's just a different class of troll altogether. And then you had guys like, do you remember Noxious BLD?
Oh God,
You
he
know, the
was
guy that
funny.
did the guy that did the
X
X
and
and bot
bot.
stuff. Oh, those were great, man. Those were fantastic. Some of the videos that he did on Hooge were just classic. You
You
know.
know Hooge is back, right? He's been trolling
Yes,
retro.
yes, I know he's back. You know,
Get rid of these cockroaches.
it's like anytime he runs out of his medication, he hops right back on YouTube. So I mean, that's probably going to be till the end of his days. You know,
Man.
he'll get medicated and he'll be normal and he'll drop off, and then pills run out and then bam, he's right back on it. So
Somebody again said Infinite Retro quit.
yeah, somebody earlier they said that he quit today, that he posted a goodbye video today,
Oh,
but Infinite Retro has done that probably 4 or 5 times in the years that I've known him. So I
the
don't suspect.
Australian version of True Setting You Free.
I don't suspect that that if that was not a troll quit, then I don't suspect he'll be gone too long. He'll end up talking himself back into it.
Yeah.
He always does.
Anything else? We wrap this up. It's about to be 1:30 soon.
I don't know. What about it, guys? Is there anything else that you want to ask me or Bond before we quit out? I mean, if you like, we don't have to just limit this to, me and Bond once a week or once every other week or whatnot. Everyone seemed to be having fun when I was just doing it by myself too. So if you guys want me to do some streams by myself once a week or so, I can try to set that up too.
This guy's trying to promote himself over here.
Just keep in mind that I work a third shift, so my hours are a little bit different than you guys. I go in at 10 p.m. at night. I get off at 7 in the morning. And Sunday nights and Monday nights are my nights off. So you just have to be mindful that when I am available to do a stream, it might be a little bit later in the day than what you guys are used to. So but if you guys want me to do it, I'll do it.
Probably think of a better name than the Podcast of Hate, too. Just threw something up there.
Well, I got a couple of positive responses for 7 Hate City. So
I heard one of 00 Hate.
00 Hate, yeah, because of the Bond and 7 thing.
Yep. All right, we'll figure something out. All right, guys. Good night. Take it easy.
Later.